I met her at the hot dog stand behind the bleachers in West River Stadium. The woman who taught me the thing I didn't know. I'll get to that in a minute. There I was, standing in line for a Coke, served flat in a waxy cup with a cracked, translucent plastic lid crunched down on top of it, when I noticed her in the next line over, with a couple of other Wildcats. The sound of drums thundered off the concrete walls of the stadium as another corps took their place on the field. I inched closer to the front of the line. Miles of leg. That's what I was thinking as I looked her over. She wore spotless, white, over-the-calf boots. They must have been custom jobs, given how they fit. Not stupid Dallas cowgirl-type fringe boots or something, but genuine, up-to-the-knee, majorette boots laced tight without a grass stain on them. Her tights were something skin-tone but spangly, which made her thighs look as long as a summer day, topped by the perfect white triangle that was the bottom of her leotard. Her jacket was white, double-breasted, 2 rows of brass buttons marching over the hills of her chest in front. Long seams of gold running down satin-lined tails in the back, hiding the curve of her ass like a stage curtain. Did I mention this is a uniform fetish story? Tucked under that same arm was her baton, not a twirling baton, mind you, a majorette baton. She tossed her shoulder-length blonde hair back from her gold epaulettes, and my breath caught in my throat. This woman was born to lead. I'd seen her the day before, at the hotel where several of the drum and bugle corps were staying. Out in the parking lot, she had been supervising the loading of the Wildcat flags and banners into a rental truck. She'd just been wearing a pair of running shorts and a t-shirt tied at the waist into a sexy knot. I'd kind of tucked the image of her into the back of my mind. But seeing her there, by the hot dog stand, in her full regalia, well, let's just say if I'd been in the Union Army and she'd been in the Confederacy, I would have switched from blue to gray in an instant. He crawled through the trenches, etc. As it was, I was standing there in the uniform of the Atlanta Zephyrs, which had a sort of faux Civil War look to them. I liked the Zephyr uniform, which squared my shoulders and had copious pockets inside, although the black pants were hell in the summer parade season. I had buzzed my hair short too, and under the plastic lining of my hat I could feel sweat prickling. What was I going to say to her? Because I knew I had to say something. It's not every day you see a girl in the concession line who makes your throat go dry, and she turned around and saw me looking. She smiled like she even recognized me from the hotel lobby. Heck, maybe we had even met before. The Wildcats and Zephyrs had both done the parade on July 4th in Wilmington, Virginia. I smiled back and waved, the white gloves tucked into my sleeve, peeking out to wave too. Then she was at the front of her line, and I was at the front of mine, and I lost track of her for a minute, till she found me standing next to the condiment table, gnawing on my straw. She bit into a hot pretzel, wrinkled her nose, and dropped the corpse of the pretzel into an empty waste barrel, where it hit bottom with a gong-like clang. "When do you go on?" she asked casually, saving me the need to invent an opening line. Second to last, I think," I said. "And you're last, right?" She smiled a pretty, faux, modest smile. The Wildcats had won the Mayor's Cup the year before, and so had the privilege of going last in this year's competition. "That's right." She had one manicured hand wrapped around the ball end of the baton, and I could see the white fingertips of her gloves sprouting from inside her hat, hung on her arm like a sand pail. "What do you play?" The question caught me off guard. I was too busy looking at how the gold-trimmed collar on her jacket accentuated her long, graceful neck. "Tuba," I blurted out. I actually played the sousaphone in a marching band, by the way. "Uh-huh," she nodded. Most of my cohort were walking around with trumpets or cornets in hand, but the tuba just wasn't practical to carry around. Sousaphones and drums were piled at the edge of the field waiting for our turn. Then her hand was reaching toward me, like she was gonna brush some lint off my jacket, but she brushed her fingers against my lips and said, in a low voice so I could almost not hear her against the blare of brass echoing off the walls, "I hear tuba players have the softest lips." Well, I wasn't about to turn down an invitation like that. Not with her spangly thighs all a-beckoning and her white gloves all a-peeking. We adjourned to the Wildcat equipment truck. The clasp of her collar came undone, and I slid my hands along her jaws, cradling her head as I kissed her. I don't know about other tuba players, but I do have damn soft lips. Hers quivered, and I made my way down her body, parting the starchy wool of her jacket to find the satin lining underneath. My hands cupped spandex-encased breasts inside their satin outer wrap, my thumbs ridging over her hardening nipples. Then I buried my face there in the sweet smell of parade sweat, dry-cleaned satin and wool, and the tang of her skin. Did I mention this is uniform fetish story? My hand slid around to her buttocks and she sucked in her breath. Suddenly, there was one white boot against my shoulder as she leaned back against the driver's side door and pushed me down. I gladly buried my face between those sparkly nylon thighs, my tongue lapping at the perfect 50% polyester white triangle. That was her most tender place. But a tongue isn't enough to penetrate Lycra. She had a wicked gleam in her eye as I picked her baton off the dashboard. One end was round, the bulb handle, but the other end was pointed, not sharp, but pointed, tapering down to a point slightly blunter than a knitting needle. I ran the tip down her crotch and over the spot where I guessed her clit was. Drew tight circles on it with the taut cloth, then she slid down further in the seat, bringing both booted feet up and spreading her legs as wide as the seat would allow. I saw it then, the one imperfection in her uniform, where the seam had given up the ghost, where the spangle met the white in the crook of her leg. I eased the tip into the hole in the fabric, widening it and letting it slide up and down her cunt. When I pulled it out, the tip was wet, and I tasted the honey I found there. Then I slid my finger into the hole, and into her. Her eyes closed, and her whole body relaxed as I sent my finger probing into the wet cleft of her. Because, you see, it was she who taught me what that hole was for. I've really always been more of a clit girl myself, and my last girlfriend hadn't really liked penetration all that much. But there, with my finger snug deep into her, I learned at last that there's no more intimate thing. She had, literally, opened up and let me in. I let a second finger follow the first, holding my thumb in bang you're dead pistol position, my thumb planted firmly on her clit, my hand rocking to the rhythm of another band leaving the field, and thinking to myself, when she high steps, she'll feel this juice between her lips. When she goes down to one knee in her salute, she'll feel the empty place where my fingers were. She was just starting to pant hard when I pulled my fingers away. "Hey," she said as I sat back. I pursed my tuba-playing lips. Consider that a down payment. You can collect the rest tonight. If the Wildcats win, I'll do whatever you want. She wrinkled her nose and threw back that perfect blonde hair. And if the Zephyrs win, I told her I'd expect the same. But that was all talk because in the end the Garfield Cadets won, and she and I spent the night being as intimate as we could anyway.